Hey, what's up, everybody? It is me, Vincente, here for another edition of the Ghost Files Live. It is Friday. It is May 17th. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see the chat is already popping off. Lots of people hopping in. What's up, Davey Deathray? What's up, Lamontre? What's up, Chuck? What's up? Who's my guy? Steve DMV was up there. Sam Haynes Knight. Sebastian, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Ghost Files. The show where I make it up as I go, and we mostly just talk about Friday the 13th because stuff just keeps coming up. But before we get into that, before we get into the universe that is Jason Voorhees, make sure that you are hitting that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, definitely make sure you subscribe, as Friday the 13th news seems to be on the horizon for the entire summer of all these things that we're about to receive as good little Friday the 13th fans. We're going to talk about them here as each thing rolls out, as we are given what we have been waiting for over 15 years from the Friday the 13th franchise. We're going to nerd out together and talk about things and talk about whatever else comes up. Lots of cool movies coming out, other things like that. Yeah, so we're gonna dive into it tonight. Obviously, let's jump into it. I've got a little thing for you here. Let's see if we got any questions right off the bat. Oh, that is right. Questions. If you have questions in tonight's stream and you want me to break down something a little bit further, hit me up with a super chat. That will send your comment right to the top of my pile, and I will see it right away, and I will answer it as fast as I can. But we're going to talk about something called the Jason universe. I think anyone who was anywhere near a computer this week saw the announcement on, I believe, Thursday by IGN. It was reported by them that the rights holders of Horror Inc., that is Robert Barsavian, I think it is, something like that. And I'll see it in a second, and I'll be able to read it better. Victor Miller, Mark Toberoff. It is a combining of the forces type thing. I'll break that down, how that sort of works. But anyway, Horror Inc., the original owners of the Friday the 13th franchise, the ones that started it in 1979 when Sean Cunningham basically first bought the rights to it. The Barsimian family was the family that funded it. And they have been sort of the silent partner in Friday the 13th for a long time. The Barsimians were involved in the Friday the 13th video game, and were also involved in the upcoming Friday the 13th TV show. Part of the way that the lawsuit ended up finishing out was that the Barsimians were actually able to make a deal with Mark Toberoff and Victor Miller. Mark Toberoff is a lawyer, an entertainment lawyer, much like Larry Zerner, who specializes in this sort of rights transfer from writers of an original property back to the original writer. And that's who represented Victor Miller and won him the case and the appeal. That team combined with Robert Barsimian, who's actually on the same side as Sean Cunningham. They both are involved with Horror Inc., but I believe that what was sort of adjusted in these rights were those rights that Sean had, and things are split. And that has to do with sort of like what the movie's going on. But before I dive any further into that, I'm going to break it down. Again, welcome to the show. I hope everybody had a good week. I've got, I'm doing this solo bolo this week, so it's going to be a little bit tougher for me to get to the comments. I know you guys are kind of talking there. I just want to take a shout out to Undead One, who is acting as our moderator for the stream. If you have any questions, hit him up. He'll hit you there, or maybe he can kind of flag some stuff for me. I've started a couple of questions already, but I want to get into this first. So since I'm going solo this week, I got a nice little, thing that I can switch this into, which should be pretty fun. So we're going to do that, and bam, check this out. Right? Starting to get better at this. Here we go. Jason Universe. Horror Inc. announces a multi-platform expansion of the Friday the 13th franchise. As you can see, this was reported by Jim Vovoda of IGN. This happened on May 16th, a few days ago. So I just want to take a moment to go over what was actually released. I kind of condensed the entire thing down here for you. Here is what is actually said. This was the official press release. It was an exclusive report. So first coming off the presses, this was a press release that was written by Horror Inc. and delivered to them. And this is what they have to say, is that Horror Inc. is expanding the Friday the 13th franchise into a new era with the launch of Jason Universe. Jason Universe is basically their Friday the 13th. Horror Inc. does not own the rights to Friday the 13th. So that's why they've come up with this name. New Friday the 13th activations will span a wide range of platforms from entertainment, broad term, games, immersive experiences, merchandise, and more to be announced through 2024 via the JASON Universe 13 on social media or by visiting the JASON Universe website. So let's take a look at that website. Boom, here it is. So if you popped over to that link, it takes you over here where it says, welcome to a new era from the Friday the 13th, the original owners of the Friday the 13th franchise. We see the logo, we see that. We'll get into that later. And basically everything that's going on right now is they want you to sign up for a newsletter to get first news. And then as you see down below, all of those links to their social media outlets, which are Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Let's go back to the story. For decades, JASON shocked and thrilled audiences who kept coming back for more. We're excited to work with both Victor Miller and Mark Toberoff on new projects we'll announce in the coming months, said Robert Barsimian, president of Horror Inc., in the statement provided to IGN. So those were the two, obviously, who are working sort of in tandem. This is part of the rights being held together. That's probably 2/3, I would say, of it, to the best of my knowledge. There may be more, who knows. Victor Miller was the screenwriter of the original Friday the 13th movie, who reclaimed domestic rights to the original slasher in 2021, a lawsuit that started in 2019, mind you, or maybe even 2018. Miller is not a part of Horror Inc., neither is Toberoff. Barsimian is an executive producer on the upcoming A24 and Peacock expanded prequel series Crystal Lake, which is actually still in development, but which originally had Hannibal's Brian Fuller aboard as its showrunner before they parted ways with the project last week. Barsimian was also an executive producer on the Friday the 13th game. So I can confirm that the show is moving forward. It just doesn't have Brian Fuller, and they're retooling, I guess, how they're going to do it. But I think a lot of the things that may have happened there may be the same. So adding Barsimian adds, we're focused on honoring the legacy while elevating the fan experience and appealing to today's horror audiences as we develop new ways to watch, interact, and engage with the JASON universe. We'll unpack that in a second. This is another quote by another member, Sherry Kahn, a global GM of Horror Inc., another person here at there. With the unique ability to remain at the forefront of pop culture for 44 years, JASON continues to top charts as one of the scariest villains of all time, with a strong global awareness across multiple generations thanks to billions of TikTok views, plus millions and millions of gamers and movie fans. We can't wait to introduce the new JASON universe activations to these amazing fans. Okay, so let's unpack that for a little bit. There's a lot going on as far as what Friday the 13th is going to become as the rights have been unfolded. Obviously, while you've seen multiple franchises cross into multiple avenue streams, I'm thinking, Universal's Halloween Horror Nights, the types of figures that are released, avatars and skins for video games, all of these things that, because if you think about before the lawsuit, we had Jason Voorhees in the Mortal Kombat game. We had the Friday the 13th video game. We had Friday the 13th puzzle game. These were all spaces where Friday the 13th was starting to establish its base. And in fact, the first Friday the 13th video game it launched a whole new wave of Friday the 13th fans. The lawsuit cut that off at the knees. And so the franchise finds itself restarting many years after Dead by Daylight has had a chance to corner the market. So does that mean that Jason's going to Dead by Daylight and they're just going to skip over those things? We don't know yet. Does it mean that a new game is coming out? And per Jason Parker on one of the previous Ghost Lives, there's a pretty good chance that the game is on the horizon, and this is the group that is behind it, and these are the groups that are going to be making decisions. Now, there's a lot of discourse on social media today, and I admit to being fully a part of it because I just wanted to poke the bear because it was pretty fun. We haven't heard or seen anything from the Friday the 13th franchise in I don't know how long since we've had an official announcement with new artwork, something new. Even when they were launching Crystal Lake, there was never an official logo. All of those posters that were being passed around were fan-made. I believe a lot of them were just people making stuff up and everyone agreeing that that's a great poster. There was actually there's never been concept art released. We haven't seen any of that. The first image that is released to the fans to our credit is this. And it makes us question, is the franchise in the right hands? And we mean this with all due respect. What is this? Because I don't recognize anything from Friday the 13th with this. And I find this to sort of be somewhat insulting. I mean, we all know what Jason Voorhees looks like, and we're very aware of what's there. What this feels like, it gives me PTSD flashbacks to Friday the 13th covers that have the wrong Jason on them. That there's a Roy, I think, on part 6, and the masks are all screwed up. And there seems to be sort of this lack of awareness for what the franchise is and a knowledge of why it is so popular and sort of what is going on within the movies versus a product that is to be sold. And a lot of the discourse that I saw online today was very much that sentiment, was that people feel like they're being sold something, but it feels a little soulless. And this is not something that somebody whips up overnight. You know, I heard somebody say like, well, you know, it's concept and it's this and it's that. This is the first time the franchise has spoken to us officially in 15 years with an actual logo for something. And what we get is something that doesn't even come close to resembling Friday the 13th. And I think what the word of the week, if I was out here with my children's TV show, the big ding ding would come on right now. If this was like Pee-wee's Playhouse, the word of the week is trust. I don't think that this instills a lot of trust in the fans of Friday the 13th. And I don't think I'm the only one saying it. And I don't mean it to be mean, but I've seen some of, you know, my friends post some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen. Like the equivalent was this, our good friends that We Watched a Movie, which is horror fans are eating so good right now. If Halloween released an image that looked like that for Michael Myers, there would be riots in the streets. I mean, look at the discourse on Halloween Ends. And it made me think a little bit. It's that this is the start of a very long journey, and this is the first step. And I got to say, when I read this, I am filled with little hope. I do feel like there are things in here that do make sense because I, as a fan, believe that Jason should be inserted into everything that he can. The problem is that if the people behind it don't know how to design it and how to implement it, and we get things like this when we're expecting something at a higher level, it's going to be a very long summer. And Friday the 13th fans are going to be taking L's throughout the entire season, all the way into Halloween. And what makes this so unfortunate is that we'll talk about that 2/3 compromise that I was kind of talking about before. We talked about Victor Miller, Mark Toberoff, Barsimian, and that entity. So Barsimian and Sherry Khan, they represent Horror Inc. Sean Cunningham is somewhere in there. I just don't know where anymore. He's sort of disappeared into the darkness, like the Phantom of the Opera, who's going to be haunting this series from somewhere and afar. But, you know, after all, Sean created it, and I think he has a right to brood over it and be pissed off because he did sort of birth this into existence. This was his idea after all. But at the end of the day, Victor Miller did write a script for him. Mark Toberoff is a very gifted lawyer, and they were able to work it out. The third party in all of this is New Line and Paramount, who both own pieces of the Friday the 13th franchise, and I believe own the moniker Friday the 13th, which is why this isn't called the Friday the 13th universe. It's called the Jason universe. So let's go back to that word, trust. You know what this logo reminds me of? It reminds me of the logo of Jason Goes to Hell, and now I'm really getting scared. It gives me the sense of like we are in the Jason universe that gave us Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X and Jason versus Freddy. And those three movies, for better or worse, are sort of a wild interpretation of what we know Jason Voorhees to be. There actually is a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot to explore there. And there's a lot that could be done with those pieces. But are those the pieces that should lead the way for the rest of the franchise? We thought it was going to be Crystal Lake, but now that's, you know, delayed for who knows long. And what people really want to know about, and I'm sure the 36 comments that I haven't seen yet are probably like, where's the effing movie? People want to know what the movie is. And I think the Friday the 13th franchise has sort of taken a misstep here, because I think they should have taken this into some focus groups and shown it to people who are actual fans. Because I can tell you one thing, I have talked to a lot of friends and people who are instrumental in the horror film community. Horror Inc. has not reached out to anybody. They haven't reached out to me. They haven't reached out to people who run important websites. They haven't reached out to social media people and journalists and artists and people who have a lot of skill and knowledge about this franchise that they should really get to know. They haven't reached out to their own alumni and talked to them and talk about the experiences that they've had over the last few years. And the years carrying this franchise, I think, like Kane Hodder, how many conventions he's gone to and represented the brand, everybody who's gone out and signed autographs for people who are still doing it, engaging with fans. It's sort of weird that this franchise is moving into a new era, but distancing itself from the foundation that built it. And I think that they would learn a lot if they did start turning to fans. If they really, instead of just taking our email and getting ready to send us stuff to buy, that they read their comments, that they look at what fans are saying, and they really think about their next steps. Because really, if you could go back and do it again, in hindsight was 2020, they probably shouldn't have said anything about anything until they had a movie in place. Because then fans would have been excited and you could have rolled out everything after that. And even to some intents and purposes, the TV show as well. The TV show was a daring move, and I still believe in it. I still think that there is so much to be told with the first 4 films in Friday the 13th, because there is so much area to explore. There's characters to explore. There's a world that can be built around that place. And I think it's a fascinating world because I've just spent 8 years playing around in it. And I have looked longingly onto the past, wishing that I had the budget and the ability to go back and play with some elements of the timeline in that era, going back to the origins of Camp Crystal Lake, or going back to the things that happened to Pamela or younger Jason and things like that. I would love to expand the Never Hike Alone branches out that way. But, we were going to get that as a Peacock series, not a fan film. It was going to be treated like, it was being treated like a Game of Thrones level show that got 2 seasons greenlit before they even, had, anything past the pilot and a bunch of outlines. So it's so weird to see all this momentum for Friday the 13th, sort of like the start and stop of it. Last week, we lose Crystal Lake. We talk about that on Friday. And then this feels like sort of we'll make up for it by telling you that you're going to get some rides this year. Am I all about, a Jason Crystal Lake experience coming to Universal Cities like Halloween Horror Nights? Hell yeah. Not even doing the Freddy versus Jason thing, like legit doing like a brand new Jason haunt. Hey, sign me up to play one of those Jasons. That sounds like a lot of fun. New toys, want it. New games, want it. Get it there. But what people want is a film. And I think I'm going to end my rant there, and I'm going to start turning to the comments. I don't know if anybody has dropped, anything yet. I'm about to flip over because I have all my backgrounds there. Let me turn this back to normal. I wish I could just I wish there was like a stream of comments that I could just see while I'm going, but that's probably Discord. And if I was smarter, I would do that. I'm going to go with some starred ones. So this was one that was left kind of early. I don't know where Steve, he might have deleted this, but I'm very excited to hear about the Jason universe, everything in the franchise, on everything possible, the franchise that spawned 12 films, video games, and more. What more can we ask for? Well, I think we could ask for a better design of that mask. Let's see, we can talk about that for a little bit. Which is, here, I'm just kind of opening up things. So kind of looking at this. Don't make me get a Discord account. No, I won't, Allie. Trust me, I need a moderator to help me run Discord. I'm so bad at that. So I want to talk about the mask because I actually brought some show and tell materials today. This is going to be a lot of fun. And actually, one thing I want to say is we may be getting an update from our friends at Mako Animation with an updated Jason art piece from Ghosts in the Fog. So I figured since we got that dropped on us on Thursday, when we released, when Mike released that that background that I had. Let me see. I'm going to go back to it. When Mike released this, Jason Parker from Friday the 13th franchise said, you know, a little competition will do us some good. And I kind of said it's a race to the bottom with that kind of thinking. But anyway, you know, it got me thinking about sort of what's going on with. I got to go back to this mask because I got to keep talking about this thing. It's this mask. So there's a challenge here. What I know is, and what I here's what I don't understand is that there's a challenge because the JASON universe is supposedly sort of restricted on the mask use, which doesn't make sense to me because Horror Inc. is the one who owns all the licenses to the mask. If you don't know about this, basically each JASON for each film, starting with 1 all the way through 8, has an individual license that has to be purchased. They're all completely different looking anyway, so it ends up going there. And each mask has its own license, and I think it's in that package. They had to rebuild the mask from scratch here, and you can see the differences, you know, right away. Obviously, the hole pattern is different. There's less holes. The chevrons are flipped around, but it's the basic there. But the entire basic shape of it, the way it sort of just looks, if you imagine that on JASON, like, where's JASON? You know what I mean? Right now, it's the mask. And I said in a pitch in a long time, you know, ago on when I was doing a pitch for Never Hike Alone, actually at a studio, I had a picture of the mask up and I said, this mask is universal. You show this anywhere in the world and in every language, somebody will point to it and say JASON. I just don't think that this mask is really that impressive. And how long it took to work on this, was this an AI generated image? This doesn't feel like something that would be, I don't know, ushering a new generation. It's sort of the old thing, but I don't see an improvement on what was there. Now, in contrast, as you guys know, I'm a Super Friday the 13th nerd. I designed the Ghost Hawk, which is back there. Now, I did this avoiding, you know, having to, I avoided it doing the same hole pattern. Like, we actually straightened out the hole pattern and made everything a little bit more symmetrical because the original mask has inconsistencies and kind of blemishes. And we wanted this one to feel like machine drilled. It's sort of drilled like a bowling ball, actually, the more I think about it. And the more I look at it, sometimes it looks like a bowling ball. You know, we changed the eye shape. You know, we added the damage. We didn't put the chevrons on. We did everything we could to make sure that we weren't one-for-oneing the mask. We wouldn't get sued. Now, this is the design that came out for Never Hike Alone, but I was actually starting to base it off of different masks from the same era that I thought were good. And I have something that I've been working on sort of in secret for a long time, but I'm going to reveal to you today. I've released a few photos of it to, I think, some fans, and I don't know if I've ever released it live, but this is a mask I worked on with an artist who I just asked him to sort of make some changes. But if I was going to do like a brand new Friday the 13th and I was going to change the mask in any way, what they have there versus, say, something like this, which I think is a great take on how to update a JASON mask. So in here, you're also getting sort of, this is a Ted White hood. I'm trying to, Kyle Huckalak did this, does a really great job. In fact, here's the cow, the Ted White hood. But for this is supposed to be a alternate universe of Ghost JASON. This is human JASON, because we know that in the Never Hike Alone verse, I did make him a revenant, but there is a world with fans that JASON was a living, breathing human from a certain area. And since I do say that JASON at one point was fleshy and human, even as a revenant, I wanted to see what he would look like as a young boy with a different type of mask that was kind of built to the same ilk. Take the chevrons off, change the hole pattern, change the shape a little bit, but do something that's a little menacing. What didn't the mask ever do before? It never made use of this. And what good is a hockey mask if it doesn't have here and there? So we get sort of that shape on the back of the head, which I thought was really rad. Now, I'm going to copyright this shit right here. Like, if I make this an original killer, because it's so different from JASON's original mask, but this is JASON and I wouldn't want to make a ripoff. But if like literally I have this sitting in my closet, and if they would have taken a picture of this and put it on that JASON universe, maybe I should have done that for this broadcast, and maybe I will really put this on social media. But if they did a nice kind of version of this with the hood on to look like that, damn, I think fans get more excited because they're starting to see a little bit more of their boy. They put that green collar on him. It would look great. I'm going to dress that thing up, and that's going to be good. But what is, and I also wanted to show up, since we're talking about merchandising this week, I also wanted to show off some work that people have been doing. John McNeil and Jordan Duffick, actually, I don't know if they've ever got really credit for this, but Jordan and John have been working on these. They will be coming to our Indiegogo backers. They're working on the last batch, I think, of 10 or 12 that are being done, but these are on the way. So I wanted to shout those out. But my boy Kaiden Ritchie, look at this repaint on Ghost Jason. It's basically a reprint of, this is the Freddy versus Jason one being remodeled. He's got the mask in there, which is really rad that he redid. Cody Wilkins, who does the 3D printing studio, who worked on Never Hike Alone films, he actually 3D prints these axes, and he has a sickle. So these are actually going to be going to some of our Never Hike Alone backers who got a certain perk. They've been doing like little masks too, little keychain masks, which are bad. So these are 3D printed based on an actual scan of the thing. Shout out to Taylor Franco. I don't know if I ever showed these off, but look at these shoes that she painted. Look at that. This is pretty rad, huh? Based on the artwork that was done for Never Hike Alone 2. So if you want to talk about merchandising, what I'm daring the Jason universe to do is keep up with fans, because fans created all of this. And now you got to keep up with us because you haven't been around. You've been absentee dad for 15 years, and we've sort of gotten better at this than you have. And I'm sorry to say it, but it's the truth. So it would probably behoove you if you started calling some of us and really kind of getting involved. And so now with that said, now I'm going to get to the comments because I figured I'd show you guys some really cool stuff, and then we'd see how that goes. I remember the Jason Clogger shoes. That's pretty funny. Drip shoes, Jason not drowning in those. Oh, look at that. Who cheesy. Look at that background right there. Look at that icon. That's nice. I'm glad you guys using the Freddy versus Jason. Hey, that could be in there. Let me see. Who else is out here? Hey, Moy's here. Moy, you're going to be my point person if we have any updates in there. Let me see. What are we going here? Does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any thoughts about everything I just ranted about? I mean, I just wanted to go on my tangent, and I figure, jump to you guys and see how you feel about it now that we've sort of talked about the whole thing. Again, the word comes down to trust. Ding, 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 ding. Is the franchise going to do things that we're going to be allowed to trust and enjoy this? Or is this going to be a really hard departure from the original fandom, watching a brand new fandom experience Friday the 13th in a way that really wasn't our introduction to it? You know what I mean? Like it's going to be a Fortnite skin, which I think that was something that was brought up, that the only account that the universe followed was Fortnite. So it probably sounds like Jason's coming to Fortnite, which is pretty cool. I think that's pretty rad. I haven't played Fortnite in a long time. My friends used to make me play it. And then I got kind of decent at it, and then I stopped playing. But maybe I'd get back just to play Jason, because honestly, like the other thing that I was going to say is that mask actually looks like, let's pull it back up because I can't help it. It looks like the Jason mask from GTA, right? Doesn't that look like that mask like the fake mask they always do so they don't get ripped off? And in every single GTA, they found a way to put a hockey mask in it, which I love. And every time that happens, you know exactly what I do. I go and I get the green shirt and brown pants, and I put the hockey mask on, and I go around and murder people in GTA. Friday the 13th, the video game, was just finally what I was always been doing in GTA for the last probably 3 decades. I don't know. I do wish that they would fix the mask. And I think that that's something they really do have to sort of address. But maybe, if this is the mask for a Fortnite Jason, I'm not mad at that. I don't think it really, like, Fortnite Jason won't be completely on. And I think Jason Parker shared something that somebody had made. But, I wouldn't be mad at that with that. But that's the leading face of the franchise in 15 years. It's that Gregory Peck refuses to play Fortnite. I'm there with you. I used to be that way. And then my friends were playing, and it was like, I guess, and I'm not good at first person shooters. I'm horrible at aiming. My thumbs are just not great. Damn, gonna see weird seeing Jason with an assault rifle, right? That is actually going to be kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, I guess Art the Clown would be out there with an assault rifle. That would make more sense since he's a big cheater. But I don't know. Maybe Jason. Maybe they can give Jason a gun that like shoots machetes. Like it's just like a machete spear gun. That'd be kind of badass. Um, where did I get this great Godzilla poster? Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Godzilla for a second. Any excuse. This this poster was gifted to me by a good friend of mine, Lawrence Gann, who was he was one of the first editors on Never Hike Alone. So him and my ex Sarah cut Never Hike Alone. Lawrence did the first master build, and we worked all summer to put that thing together. So that's where I got it. Do you think mom and dad will make up and share IP again? Oh, that's a good question, Moy. That's a good question. I guess think happy thoughts. Right now there's a lot of people who have owned this franchise for a long time, very stubborn in their ways. People really just trying to secure, when you really look at it, it sounds like people are just trying to secure their nest egg for their family going forward. And then these rights are going to fall into family members' hands who probably have either aspirations of what to do with it that we have no clue are, or have no interest. The worst case scenario is sort of what I see with Nightmare on Elm Street, is that you see the Craven franchise the Craven franchise, I'm sorry, the Craven family with no real incentive to get those rights out into the world and have more done without their father's influence, I guess. Or, I don't know what their interest is with doing more things with the brand. And they seem very guarded about it. And that's their that's their prerogative. And I feel bad for Nightmare on Elm Street fans that want new material. And I feel bad for filmmakers who I know who are big Nightmare on Elm Street fans who have genuine dreams and aspirations. I think of Cecil Laird, obviously. I think of Dominic Smith, who did Return to Elm Street, which he was the person who made me feel like I didn't believe that Nightmare on Elm Street really could be done on a fan film level. And he set the standard. You know what I mean? There's Paul. I forget his last name, but he's a very good cosplayer, and he's done some stuff. Obviously, there's Nathan Thomas Millionaire, who did The Confessions of Fred Krueger. And so, you have people out in this space who love this art and want to make it. And what happens if that happens on Friday the 13th, that eventually these rights dissipate? Jason is sort of a meat puppet of sorts for advertising and NFTs and games, but we never see him again on the big screen, or we never really get a story realized in a way that is really, worth our time. Are we going to get something on streaming? Are we going to get something in the theaters? What's the game going to be? Is it going to be a story-based game? Is it going to be, I was thinking about, one thing we didn't talk about when it came to the game a few weeks ago with Jason was that it could be an Until Dawn type game, which would be kind of cool. If you're going to do a Friday the 13th game, an Until Dawn story-based experience would be rad. So would VR. I actually talked to a good friend of mine about, he was hemming and hawing me about doing vertical video and creating vertical video, virtual reality experiences with going into the forest and getting chased around by Jason, which I actually think would be pretty cool. And which is also a shameless plug for you to watch Never Hike Alone, The Lost Tapes, which is on the Never Hike Alone, on the wompstompfilms channel, in both the Never Hike Alone and the Never Hike Alone miniseries. It's the last episode. And it is sort of a sneak preview of what Never Hike Alone 3 would be. Not that we'd film it vertical video, but those are sort of the characters we would bring into it. And our buddy Ryan, who plays Hikerman 5000, does play a role in that. So if you want to see those guys there, which it's unofficial, it's not an official Never Hike Alone entry, it's just a experiment, I would highly suggest you watch that. Which is also to say, like, we've been doing this for like 8 years, and I still can't believe that there's been no outreach from anyone in the franchise to anybody in this community about the ways that we can help improve the franchise in general. I mean, there's so many good ideas out there. I think about what James Sweet accomplished with Adrian King and Amy Steele. I think about the way that alumni are getting involved and how there is room for everybody to sort of take place and participate in the Friday the 13th franchise. And the fact that it's been so closed off and that we're getting these little snippets like this, if they really want to make it a fan experience, I think they really got to get the fan involved. Billy Boy's talking about how about something like Alien Isolation, 1,000%. I can't finish that game. There's like a section where you got to go down a hallway and the aliens there, and I haven't figured out to get past it. And every time it gets me, it just freaks me out. VR paintball with Jason, that would be great. Mitch has got a question. Let's see. Do recent events give you more incentive to create original content? That's actually a great question, Mitch. Honestly, I've already had a lot of incentive to create original content. If anything, this has made me want to create more Never Hike Alone content, just to be like, I really thought that, like, hey, I'm just little old Vin doing wompstompfilms. I really can't compete with the big boys. But if that's the first image I've seen in 20 years, I'm like, let's race. Let's race. Like, I feel like there's things I want to do. In fact, while I'm talking to you guys, I am going to check my other screen to see if Juan, woo, that looks sexy. Wow. Okay. Hang on a second, guys. I have some stuff. Can you email this to me, please? I think it's going to download kind of low res. I gotta you guys gotta give me a second because I just got a nice little thing. Yeah, this is only 32 kilobytes. That is not going to look great. But I'm looking at some stuff, and we're getting very close to unveiling some new things about Ghosts in the Fog. I got to jump back. The image got sent over for me to approve. Looks pretty badass. I'm going to let you guys see things like it as it's going. That will be a fun, things for you guys to see each week as you tune in. Let me see. Go for it. What's this? I feel like they're going to make Crystal Lake Show a real thing, that they should have the hockey mask match the one in part 3 and 4 so fans don't get mad. There's something to that. And there's also something that's sort of, it depends. They'd have to get it so right. They would have to get the tone so right. But one of the details, probably not gonna be there anymore. I know that there was an incentive that they were going to shoot the show on film, is what the word going around, and that they wanted to get the classic look sort of going there. So if you did shoot it with the classic look and you were going for that old school look and you had the right pieces, seeing Jason with that authentic mask would have been really, really nice. I think we would have got something a little different. I don't think anyone can help themselves. They got to touch the mask a little bit. They got to tweak a little thing about it, something they'd always wanted to see. I think that there's something there for that, but we'll see. Let's see. Vincent, you are Jason Voorhees now. They should hire you for the new movie if they can't get Kane Hodder back. Well, I don't think Kane is coming back to play Jason anymore. I think he would be one of the first ones to admit it. Kane, love him to death, but there's a certain, there is a version that Kane could play that I would love to see Kane do. If I said Kane a bunch of times, my bad, but see Kane play Jason one last time would be the Jason from The Defeated, the one that is sort of Tarman, and have Kane really put on a physical performance of this Jason that's sort of falling apart and getting old. And I'm sure that's something, not that Kane has to really worry about that, but that someone of Kane's age who doesn't have to deal with being a badass like he is, the feeling of that, the feeling of your body not sort of being what it once was, and Jason coming to that point in his life, where Jason gets to. I think that'd be cool to see Kane kind of put on a performance like that. I think that's another, talking about the Jason universe, about jumping into different areas. That would be something to do. Look what they're doing in a violent nature. Imagine that story with Jason and then Stephen King writing it, because he said that's the story he always wanted to write, but never would because the rights are too fucked up. I mean, think about this. We have Stephen King who's ready to write this story for Jason. We know that it's in its head. If Jason Blumhouse is running Friday the 13th, he's putting those threads together and making it happen. You know what I mean? And I think that if the franchise just sort of like got its shit together, got a good game plan going, even if 3 films weren't even connected to each other, if we are going to get Jason, and they're not so connected, why not get them all in development right now? Treat it like an animation house. Get 5 projects going at one time, and the first one that is awesome goes out first. And then you keep working the other ones behind it. It's a very simple formula that, Hollywood's been doing for a lot of years. And maybe they are doing this, but again, this is a very lucrative franchise that should be putting a lot of resources into this. And apparently they have a lot to release, but like I said, first thing out of the gate was a little shaky. More Never Hike Alone. That makes me happy. Well, we're gonna try and do it through animation, and we'll see how that goes. Let me see if he got back to me. Not quite yet. Man, that does look good. I wish I could share it. Ay, look a guy. It's all right. I mean, you can't do that. Let me see. Even better, they should film in Blairstown. I mean, yes and no. I'm gonna tell you something about Blairstown. They don't love Friday the 13th there. And I don't think that they want Friday the 13th back. And I don't think they're happy about it being back, because the people of Blairstown really see Friday the 13th as like a blight on their community. Every time I've gone there, which has been a lovely time, it's a lovely town. It is a lovely place. It is a town divided. The camp doesn't like associating itself with Blairstown. Blairstown doesn't like associating itself with the camp. The camp charges an arm and a leg for people to go visit it. They're selling pieces of it's a cash grab for them. And I think that one of the things that really sucks about Friday the 13th is how many people treat it that way. They treat it as this thing that they can snip off and sell, and they don't really think about really any of the quality or like the nostalgia of it. They're just trying to sell that. And it's so soulless. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I've never gone to Novi Bosco, because it doesn't feel like, everything I've heard is it just doesn't sound like an authentic experience, that they're sort of just like, it's the thing they do just to make some money at the end of the year. I know that people have maybe had some great experiences because, Adrian's been there and she does a great job doing it. But overall, just the way that I've heard it sort of pitched just wasn't great. Kane on our old man, Jason. Yes, we love it. Greg Peck. Where can I score a sweet Jason lamp like the one back there? You'd have to ask my brother. He got it for me for Christmas, but I'm sure that's like in every Spencer's gifts around Hot Topic. I don't know. It's probably, dude, search Jason lamp on Amazon.com. Guarantee you'll find it. Kane is a good person, but he's getting old. Man, time fly by. Hey, he's been doing it for a long time, so you can't. I fought him like maybe 3 years ago, and he's still got it. He's still got a grip like anybody's business. Well, Kane, just to get a knee replacement, he's good to go. Hey, if he's good to go and he's ready to do it, let's see it happen. I'm not going to share that just because that's a little bit of private information. Please spread the word about that. Film in Maryland. 13 Gallows Lane, let me hear it. letting Blairstown hear it. What's that? Oh, okay. Well, I guess that that's all you need to know about Blairstown. Next Thursday, I'm introducing a noob to the NHA Ghost Cut on my Rumble channel. Got to be loads of fun. Thank you, Mitch. Always spreading the word about Never Hike Alone and all that fun stuff. Damn, that expensive. I'd rather visit one of you guys wherever you guys shot Never Hike Alone at. I was like, hot. I was like, we're hot guys. Like, shot. Yeah. Well, if anybody who's received their digital perks, if you have your Friday the 13th script, on the back page, there's a map to find the camp. But I just have to tell you that the path up there is treacherous now. So you gotta be careful. If I had to put like a disclaimer warning that it's actually really dangerous, go there. I have the OG part 5. Well, that's dope. Death Curse Society in the house. None of the reports of the JU mentioned movies. Brian Fuller stated the movies are still in limbo due to rights complications. Do you have any insight, and can you further explain? Yeah, so I did cover this a little bit earlier, but just to kind of go back over it, is that the third entity party is New Line and Paramount. So it's Paramount, and then Mark Tobleroff and Victor Miller own international rights. Horror Inc., Robert Bassimian, and Sean Cunningham own domestic rights, or it's the other way around. Domestic rights belong to Victor Miller and Mark Tobleroff. International rights belong to Sean and Robert Bassimian. Theatrical rights and the rights to the name Friday the 13th are held by Paramount, New Line, Warner Brothers. Distribution rights are still held at Warner Brothers. So there's a lot of entities that got to come together, and everybody wants to get paid. So the complication is who is getting paid what, and what does that deal look like, and what is everybody owed? And then after everybody's done picking those bones dry, what is left for the movie to be made? Who is making it? What studio is producing it? You know, that's why you've seen Jason Blum sort of really pushing to get the rights so they can get those. But that's a problem because I believe they work with Universal, so they would need some type of special deal. They wanted to get James Wan involved, so that's Atomic Monster, and that's another company that's going to get involved. And I don't know if anybody saw Late Night at the Devil, but Friday the 13th is going to be like the beginning of that movie with 9 slates in front of it with all the companies that are going to have to come together just so one movie can get produced. So one person can say Camp Crystal Lake, another person can say Pamela Voorhees, someone else can say Hockey Mask, and they can put a Friday the 13th title on it. Like it's not an easy thing. There needs to be some sort of central mediator who is pulling all of these resources together, basically paying the king's ransom to all 5 entities to use this, which is some production company, which is why Blumhouse makes sense, only because they have the capital to do it. But, you know, again, who owns what and who's get paid? Like, so if you use a mask that sort of looks like part 3, but you do the whole film and you never mention Pamela Voorhees, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's all this thing, all these stipulations that they have. It almost turns into like a 48-hour film program where like you got a film project where you have to like sort of hit all these templates so everyone gets paid. It's like the incentives of an NFL wide receiver's contract. You know what I mean? Like Jason has to run 100 yards by the end of the movie in order for Nike to get its fucking pay cut, bitch. And like, I guess Freddie's the CEO of Nike there. So there's all that stuff. An inside source that I talked to told me that the idea going on when you're there with sort of the last iteration that I heard about was their idea was that they were going to do the classic 4 seasons in a movie. That the idea was that the show was going to go a certain amount of seasons, and then that was going to lead into a film, and the film franchise was going to launch from there. They just never officially said that, and I don't think they ever officially agreed to that. And I think that there was a push, and there has been actually, I talked to some other inside sources. There has been a push behind the scenes to get a film going. And the people that are pushing it are on the Victor Miller Toblerov side. Because I remember they said that I'm quoting at this point, but this is a random source, but they said they spoke to the lawyer. And Mark is the lawyer who really kind of arranged it and has sort of been trying to get things going, because part of, you know, his deal is getting these rights, is getting things made so everyone can make money. So there have been attempts. I know that they've approached people. They did approach somebody behind the scenes about doing a movie, but that group stepped away. They didn't want to deal with them, and they said that the experience was questionable. So I think there's momentum. I think some of my worst fears are sort of like kind of bunching up, or kind of bunching up in a way that really the Friday the 13th rights might be in the hands of people who just like, they know they got a money maker. They just don't know how it makes money. And they have an idea of what it is. Like I made a comment today that like, this looks like, you know, the logo looks like it was designed by somebody who saw Friday the 13th a long time ago. You know what I mean? And sort of threw something together and recognized it, but like wouldn't be able to sit here like a lot of us and be like, oh, well, there's got to be this many holes and blah, blah, blah. You know, all that stuff. So let's see. I'm going to be just Crates of Fire Jr. Where the hell's the corkscrew? Can you imagine yourself being a character in that deadly scenario in part 4? Getting a screw slammed through my hand? That would be brutal. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I would try to fight back, but I don't think I would have much of a chance against the Ted White version of Jason. There was a Friday the 13th fan film filmed in Maryland. I believe that was Voorhees. I believe Voorhees was filmed in Maryland. Maryland has like Texas Chainsaw vibes, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of got that kind of warm Southern glow. I went to Nobi Bosco and had a fantastic time. Not sure about the negativity there. So, hey, Sam Haines Knight, Screw you, Joe Gallo. Sam Haynes says he had a great time and they loved it. I would love to know more about it because I did hear the negative side. I want to hear the positive sides. I just know that it's very, very expensive. So you must have dropped that goal. Look who's in the chat, this troublemaker. Jordan Harvey wants to go break some legs, but I don't know who this guy's legs breaking because his legs are broken. This guy can't even walk, just dragging his legs around. All right, let me see. Almost missed it. Gonna have to start back at the beginning. Yeah, you could do that if you want. You can do that if you want. You just go back later. Hang out for now. Let's see. Bachelor saying, hey, what's up, everybody? Everyone say what's up to Bash. So let's see. Pops Ghostly, I did see you say hi before. Sorry, I didn't say hi back. Regarding the Friday the 13th game, can you speak to working with mod creators for creating Ghost Jason content? Yes. In fact, I am speaking to some people behind the scenes about what it would take to put some pieces in place to build a never hike alone game and just do what Jason Universe is doing and remove all the Friday the 13th content and give us a game where you could just run around as someone called Ghost Jason who might look slightly different or maybe might be based on some stuff that we're building with an animation company, and lots of different ways that we can sort of turn that old experience that we really used to love in a game that we used to love into something else. I'm not going to go much further than that, but I have discussed it with people and we are trying to figure out what is the feasible thing because I don't know anything about gaming. I don't know anything about how it comes together. I know how to build a schedule and how to do things and build a budget, but that's going to take some time before I can really kind of dive into that stuff. The question isn't if Fortnite Jason would have a Tommy gun. That's good. All right, Charm Shadow, you get comment of the day. Tommy gun. That is too good. That is too good. Go pat yourself on the back. If you're of legal age, you earned a beer with that one, man. How would you want the Friday the 13th show to start off with? I would want it to start after Jason's death. In my head, the opening of my Friday the 13th TV show starts on a rainy night in a small town in Indiana, where a man has just come home from a long day's work and he's on his phone with his wife and it's raining outside and he's talking about coming up to see her at the mother-in-law's and he just got back and there's a knock at the door. A woman's there and it's Pamela Voorhees and she says, hi, Eli. And this man stops dead in his tracks, sees this woman and remembers her as if she's a ghost from the past and says, hi, Pam, what are you doing here? And Pamela would say to this gentleman, I came to tell you that your son has died. And that is where I would start this episode. And the series would be built around these conversations between Jason's mother and Jason's father at a dining room table where she recants the last 12 years of her life since she last saw this man. And this guy went on and built this life where he has a family, he has kids, he has a job, his wife's a homemaker and it's the 1950s. And, it's the great American generation. They're doing great. And this woman has struggled for 12 years on the road by herself, raising this child by herself. And she sort of recants this story to this man that realizes that like a lot of this is his fault. And throughout the course of the series, we flash back. Each episode is sort of like a piece of it. It's a piece of their conversation mixed with a piece of the story about what happened after they first met. What happened when she was on the road? What happened when they got to one town and it didn't work out? And what happened when they met the Christies? And then the Christies are their own sort of characters because there's these rich yuppies. And I would say the closest thing that they would be the family from Get Out. You know what I mean? They would have voted for Obama a third time. Come in here, single mother with your deformed son. You have a place to stay with us because we don't discriminate and we don't care that you had a child out of wedlock and we don't have those, oppressive Christian values where, we're Mormons or whatever they are. You know what I mean? And I guess Mormons are pretty oppressive. So I don't know, Presbyterian, who knows, whatever. I'm not too familiar with it. So anyway, The story becomes about them getting into this camp and sort of being told that they belong, and then realizing that after Jason's accident that they never really did belong. They were a token of this camp, that they could say, look at us hiring this poor destitute mother and her poor destitute child. We're just so generous and so giving, and it's very much a show. And Pamela starts to feel like it's a show, and then the minute that the show becomes inconvenient, it gets swept under the rug and pushed to the next town. Although when Pamela gets pushed out to the next town, she doesn't get to take her boy with her because no one will take any responsibility for what happened to him. And that's when it circles back around to the conversation at the dinner table about where Pamela's gone, where she has fallen, all of these traumas that she's faced, and the fact that there's something weird happened to her. And I think I pitched this on a Ghost Files a long time, that she walked out to the pier before she left Crystal Lake, and she prayed to God that he would return her boy to him. And she thinks that the wrong God listened, because Jason's been haunting her ever since. And that would be the turn. And then we'd get into her killing everybody, and her demise, and that demise leading to the return of Jason. And that would be my first season of Crystal Lake if I was in charge. But I'm not in charge. I just make fan films, and this is the destiny that I have. Eli, see, that's the thing. Elias, you're right. Mitch is very much. Sorry, I'm jumping to the near the. Maybe Elias runs an antique store. That's really funny. See, Eli, I think what I'm trying to tap into with that is that they were high school sweethearts and there was real love there, and that this wasn't a rape. This wasn't anything. This is actually tying into Friday the 13th in this, is that Pamela Voorhees made a mistake when she was a younger girl. She had child out of wedlock and she got pregnant. Now she sees all these girls having promiscuous sex, and they're not having kids. They're living their lives. They get to do whatever they want to do. You see how that works? When it becomes about rape, the rape becomes a revenge story for the men. The men become the target there. And if you look at these films, like, Pamela attacks both people equally, and there is a rape revenge. And I'm being a bad horror fan right now, and I know they made like 12 of these movies, and they just did a remake. I Spit on Your Grave. I Spit on Your Grave is a rape revenge movie. Last House on the Left is a rape revenge movie, and Friday the 13th is not a rape revenge movie, even though it got built because the filmmakers made a rape revenge movie, which Wes Craven directed. So anyway, so that's why I think that relationship sort of has to be innocent. And I think that the true crime is the fact that the guy got away scot-free. His family protected him. He came from money. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to college. He's got a future. And this girl who's from, a poorer family. I always saw Pamela coming from a little bit poorer family. She has a poor family that's God-fearing. And when they find out she got pregnant, she's hitting the road. She's out. She wants to be an adult, then she's going to go be an adult. She's no longer living in that house. They can't afford another mouth to feed, and she's got to figure out how to feed this kid and do it on her own. And she does it on her own. And I think that that's what makes the story of Friday the 13th so powerful, is the mother and son relationship, and the bond is that they've always had each other. The only person Jason has ever had in his life is his mother. No father, no grandfather, no friends, no brothers or sisters, just him and his mother, and that's it. And that's what binds them together. And I think that had to be the nucleus of the show. And I don't think how you go any far away from that. I see you got a question, Jordan, but I got to pop back up. And guys, you guys are asking a lot of questions. I don't see any what are they called? Super chats up there. Then you guys got away with murder this week. You guys just doing whatever you want, dancing all over my grave. You think I'm out here doing this for free? Kinda. Yeah, this is fun, but help me pay for the stuff. Help me pay for my internet, so I can do this. I got to go all the way back up to this other one. Okay, here we go. Now I'm catching back up. Would be freaking awesome if they finally announced the entire uncut box set of all 12 films, but all 3 films have already been uncut versions. Part 1 just goes on to the remake. Listen, these uncut films are never happening, guys. I know they did a couple, but all the work prints that they have for the uncut stuff, they threw it all out. they did not keep any of it. That's one thing that I had to buy a long time ago as a fan, is I know I'll never see the uncut version of part 7. I'll never see the uncut version of any of them, which is really a shame considering what they let people get away with now. The logo was made using the "What Your Mom Knows About Star Trek" method. Exactly. Of all the campaigns I've ever backed, the Never Hike projects are the ones I'm happiest to have backed. Thank you so much for that, Ben. Appreciate that. And we're working hard on some of the new stuff and getting a new campaign ready for you in the future. I'm going to do a quick check with my boy Juan. He may have emailed this to me. Let me see. We're going to check some email right now, folks. So just bear with me. Because, something's in my email. I think we got a special delivery. I swear to God, guys, if you guys special chat, I can build my own Pee-wee's Playhouse here. And like when I get special deliveries, I can get like cool graphics and shit. Damn, here we go. Okay, so that's uploading. See, this is what happens when you're your own brand ambassador and that. So let me see. I'm on a different computer. Hopefully, all right. Oh, there it is. Let me see if it works, because there may be limits. I really hope it works. I think I can. I think it will work. It's just taking a second. While that's happening, I'm gonna take a nice sip of this cup, which my brother got me for my birthday, and I didn't even know for months because he didn't send like a. Okay, there it is. Okay, good. All right. We're gonna show that in a little bit. And yeah, that was a good call to pull the red eyes. Anyway, I'm gonna show you guys something cool in a second. I'm gonna jump back to my comments real quick. Thank you, Juan, from Mako Animation, for getting something up here. A couple quick questions. Let me see. Dylan. Hey, Vince, a big fan. Would love to see you Womp take over Friday the 13th universe in the future. You guys are awesome. Much love. I would love to contribute. I think it has to be, there's a lot of people out there. If they were like, all right, Vin, we heard you. We're going to pull you in. You know what the first thing I'd do is? I would start calling everybody. I would be like, I'm going to open up the fence and we're going to start bringing in some people. We're going to start talking about some ideas. We're going to get a round table and we're going to have people who have been doing this pitch you ideas for days. And we're going to put those ideas on a board. And we're going to talk about each one, and we're going to figure out which one we're going to make first, and we're going to make all of them. And then we're just going to keep flooding. And we're going to figure out this one's for the theater. We're going to put that one on YouTube. We're going to run a Kickstarter for that one. You know, we're going to, so-and-so is going to do this. We're going to use these parts of the rights, everything. I'd sit there and beautiful mind board that shit out with everybody in a minute. That's always been my dream. Let's see. Jordan Harvey and his broken legs question. Did you find someone to make the shirt hoodies for your NHA, the Final Cut design? I did. His name's Josh Beeman. Speaking of which, let's do a little shout out to him real quick. Let's pull this back up before I show you what else I got. Never Hike Alone, the Final Cut design. But guess what? Jordan, you're in the way. You're in the way, Jordan. There you go. Boom. Look at this. I released this last week. This is, in my opinion, better than what they released. I think Josh did a better job than what the franchise did. And I'm not saying I'm not taking any credit for this other than the fact that I asked somebody to draw these elements, but an artist achieved this. They took our logo, they made it better, and they're an actual artist and they know what they're doing. And this is a mass design that works for us, that doesn't take the old, if fans saw something like this, they would lose their minds. There's a reason why fans are doing that. Listen, I'm dead jumping on the sword. My boy, running the chat as a dead penguin and still throwing down super chats for $10. Thank you, guy. I really appreciate it. Who's gonna follow him and ask me some questions through there, because I'm gonna show you guys some fucking awesome stuff in a second. If you guys remember last week, I showed you this. Which this is concept art made by Maria down in Mako Animation, our partners for the Ghost in the Fog. In fact, I've showed this first because I wanted to show this logo. We are constantly working on things at wompstompfilms, so we can get this next Blu-ray, kind of the creme de la creme. This next Blu-ray is going to be sort of like my Renaissance painting of home video design. So anyway, I think I've kept you guys waiting long enough. So I'm going to do this. Pew! Look at me. So this is going to be your first look at a blood test for Jason in Ghost in the Fog with the new design. So are you ready? Who's ready? Let me see. Who's ready in this thing? I think the rights holders use AI. Rick watched the stream like this motherfucker. Well, Final Cut poster is very effective. All right. I've held you guys long enough. Here's something cool for you to check out. Here's an updated look. Oh, that kind of got a little big, but hey, Jason's getting there. So if you guys don't know, one of the things we're doing is it's going to be the black and white, but blood is going to be prevalent. And this is Jason shortly after the first kill. So it's a little blown out. I'll give you that. Maybe I just Jason universed myself and put the good work of people at Mako kind of to shame because of what's going on. But, you know, you can still kind of see it there. I wonder if I can do a little bit better justice. I can actually present this. Let me see. I'm going to bring it back to full screen. I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try and be a little bit more. I'm going to give these guys their due because they worked too damn hard today. I'm a good guy. Hold on, let me do this. I'm going to open up this on a panel so you can see it in full glory. But still kind of low res. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. Yeah, I can still do it. I can still do it. Where am I? Okay, there we go. Present. Share screen. Entire screen. Not that one. Okay. Yeah. All right. Window. Yeah, that's what I wanted was the window. Why did that happen? Hold on. I gotta check something. Sorry, guys. I'm keeping you guys over here just wasting your time. I don't know. We'll see if this works. All right. Here. I'm gonna throw caution to the wind. Entire screen. Window. This? Nope, that's not what we want. Stop share screen. All right, I screwed it up. Anyway, we'll try to bring it up one more time because it looks like it's just a little derez because they're sending me the test files, but we're getting a little bit of a look at it. So we're getting there. Look at Yuri. Oh my God. Look at you, Yuri. Block me out right here. Longtime fan with an idea I would love to see. Jason is controlled by the military SWAT like in Jason Goes to Hell, but is somehow apprehended rather than blown up. A series of explosions explores the implications. That is very interesting. In fact, it makes me think of the old upcoming Neon Fear fan film, which seems to be cyborg AI Jason Voorhees coming back. They get the real Jason Voorhees to go fight them. That might be a fun one to watch. There's also a series of, I believe, Wildstorm comics that explore the Crystal Lake Research Facility where we do see that. And in fact, there is one moment where Jason literally takes, when you went to the playground and there's like those like ducks you would get on and they'd be on a spring and like you'd like wave back and forth. Well, he like rips one of those at the ground and throws it at a helicopter and blows it up. So I can't remember the names of that one. And I remember they had really cool Bloodbath. I think it's called Bloodbath. And there's one really cool one where the mask is split and you see half his face. That's another one. So that's like a thing that, like, when I went and I pitched the animated series to Warner Brothers a long time ago, that's one of the comics I brought with me. And I said, why? You guys have some type of ownership over this because you're the one licensing this out to be made. So why wouldn't you animate this? It made no sense. Here we go. Mitch is digging the blood. There's 3 Friday the 13th days coming in 2025. It would be nice if they finally got something on one of those days. I remember that the last time there were 3 Friday the 13th, that's what sparked off what we were doing for Never Hike Alone. We released something like it was like a January, a March, and a January, March, and I think September. I think the way it goes, or January, March, November is the way it goes, which is pretty rad. In fact. Yeah, so there's that. Let me see, kind of going back in. So got that one. So we're good. Let me see. Jimmy really likes the ideas. And we got there. So cool. Sick, but in a good way. The blood really pops. Yeah. Let's go back and talk about this little this little ditty for a second. Hang on a second. Boop. There we go. Yeah. Why, let's talk about something. Why does everyone hate Jason with the bow and arrow? Can someone explain that to me? I don't get it. I don't get it. September and December have Friday the 13th this year. That's right. That's right. September and December. That's right. And December. We did think about that. So we're going to be starting the Final Cut campaign a little later than I thought we were going to. So actually, with something being in December, that's actually a great sort of release date. So if the Final Cut campaign all goes well in July, I would say, because the idea is that we want to get everything shipping for Never Hike Alone 2, obviously. We'd like to get that ball rolling. There's still just work to be done. Made some good progress this week, got more digipacks out. Started organizing behind the scenes, getting that going. Got to spend a little bit more time doing that. Just had a long work week. I was sort of worked double time this week at work, so a little less time on the computer. So what else are we doing? I just realized what the icon was, and I caught it out of the corner of my eye, and this little cat flipping me off. So thank you for that. Got some new comments coming in. I'll keep an eye out for that stuff. What Jason is what Jason isn't the Green Arrow. You have failed Crystal Lake. No, not at all. Jason isn't the Green Arrow, but he goes to a camp where they have archery, and archery is one of the main sets in the first movie. Very Universal monster vibe. Love that. Yeah, he used the spear gun a few times. Yeah, so that's what I'm just talking about right now, Jordan. So the idea is that if this goes well, we'll have Friday the 13th, the Final Cut. Never Hike Alone, the Final Cut. All right, they're coming for me. Barsimian, take me away. We got the Final Cut coming, and then Ghosts in the Fog would also be funded in this world that I'm manifesting for us. You'll get 2 things on Friday the 13th in December if all goes well. Pretty rad, right? And that's also when we should be releasing that stuff on Blu-ray too, because I think we'll be able to kind of package it all at one thing. So let's see. Of course, Allie loves the bow and arrow. Allie loves everything. The one and only Phone Dude. In some of the comics that came out for Friday the 13th, Jason as a child is portrayed as a messed up and murderous from the start. Would you keep this if you own the rights to the series? No. No, 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 no. That is so cliche and dumb. Jason is not an evil person. Pamela is not an evil person. Pamela might have tendencies and they might be a little weird, but the thing that makes them just is that they're innocent. Is that Pamela's mistake was that she had premarital sex, not that he's this little demon ship. You know what I mean? Like in my head, everything that happens to them is society's reaction to them. She always talks about how Jason was such a sweet boy, right? And I guess that some terrible, like I'm sure that, kids who have shot up schools, their mothers are like, he was such a sweet child. So we obviously get that, but I think that there's something to Jason actually being an innocent young boy and people seeing his face and assuming the worst. And they always assumed the worst. You know what I mean? It's like, and that would build up on Pamela all this time rather than Pamela playing denial, being like, my son's not bad and he does bad shit. Like he actually was a good kid. He didn't deserve any of this. That's what makes it so much better. And it's always such a horror cliche that it's the weirdo kid, that it's the kid that got picked on, that it was, I mean, I guess Jason does get picked on, but it's more of like that they were sort of like, at the end of the day, they were the weird kid and they deserved it. And there was always this weird kind of turn. And I hate that. What do you think of this Never Hike Alone TikTok clip? I don't know. I don't know what the Never Hike Alone TikTok clip is. I'm barely on TikTok. I just kind of share some of the stuff we do have, but someone link me. Joe Gallo, help me out. You're good at this stuff. Anders loves the arrows. Another one for the arrows. I like Jason with the bow and arrow. It makes him more grounded than the teleporting upstairs like you did in Jason Takes Manhattan. Everybody thinks Ghost Jason teleports, which is really funny because it's not. People don't really like Jason with the bow and arrow. It's not like he pulled out a Glock. Yeah, it's not like he pulled out an Uzi in the middle of some weird $250,000 scene that didn't make any sense. Just don't put me in the film. I don't want Jason to kill me. No, we don't have to do that. Maybe we'll put that in the next one. Somebody can sign up to get killed. Thank you,
Holly Go Frightly, that's one of the inspirations behind his work. Oh, yeah. Nice. Mako's here. Mako Animation Studios in the house. Did you say hi before? Is that Juan? What's up, man? Great work over here. The other photo was a little pixely. You probably saw that, but next week we're gonna polish that up. We're gonna show you some new stuff. I have some ideas. Maybe we'll show you some turnarounds. We'll get you some, like, I really would love to give you guys, like, instead of doing a behind the scenes down the road, why don't we do some behind the scenes here and be like, hey, this is where we're at. I think one of the coolest things about being in film was the fact of going through the concept phase and seeing things early and making decisions and see how things change through the years. Like, if Friday the 13th wasn't releasing so much news lately, one of my ideas was to actually take you guys down a rabbit hole of when I worked on Freebirds and show you some of the stuff that people have never seen before. I have documents upon documents about the way that the characters are supposed to look. I have music that nobody's heard before for this movie that was written by Steve Martin that has Leonard Nimoy singing on it. Like, there's lots of stuff. So maybe we give you guys a look behind the scenes. Maybe I can put together some sort of like vision boards for you guys to see, in smaller scale what we're doing, so we're not giving everything away, but you can see the work that goes into what it takes to build an animated film and you understand it a little bit more. It might be a cool journey for us as we journey towards the Final Cut campaign, as we're finishing up everything else. I think, well, the remake of Friday the 13th, I think what the remake of Friday the 13th in 2009 did right by the character of Jason is they showed his craftsmanship and how he lives off the land. I agree. I did like that concept. I thought that was very smart. I thought it was sort of like an area of ideas that like barely got explored. Like, there's so much more to explore there. There's only so much you can explore in a movie. In a TV show, you could really come up with some stuff, because I think there's like a real First Blood aspect there. You know what I mean? And they did reference First Blood a lot when they were writing Friday the 13th, 2009, Shannon and Swift. I agree. Jason stays innocent kid. Thank you. Of all the Friday the 13th scenes I wanted to be in as a character, it's got to be Court's part where Darcy DeMorse. Oh my God, of course. That's good. Yeah, I imagine that was a tough scene to film, or it was a hard scene to film. Arrows and bolts are brutal weapons and very, very silent. I agree. In fact, one of the horror films I'm working on right now that's an original has a crossbow and bolt killer in it, which is pretty cool. Steve, I would love for Jason to kill me in a fan film or even break my legs. It's gonna happen. All right, so the 13 Gallows Lane crew. I'm just keeping this up here because it's cool setting, and I'd rather just hang out with Jason on the shore, keeping you all company, keeping me company. Like, I have a co-host. Jason's my co-host. He just doesn't say shit. It's like Arsenio Hall. We're definitely gonna break your legs on camera, Jordan. That's gonna happen. Look at this guy. Cecil Laird. Dude, I'm ironing out the details for DNN2, and I can't wait to go over them with you. The script is going to be awesome. I tells you. Super fun nods. Cecil and I are gonna yawn about this a little bit this weekend. He's got to throw a timeout to me, but make sure you check out the Horror Show channel when they break this down, give their views on it, what they think. I know that Cecil's a little bit more of a Freddy guy. But let's see what the Freddies think about this. And I don't know if you caught it before, Cecil, but we talked a little about sort of the state of the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff too, about what's going on with that. Let's see. All right, we got our thing about there. I got my broken leg guy. Do you think we'll get anything official from Friday the 13th that comes out this year? Not a movie, just or show related. Yeah, I think that's what's coming. I think the first thing we're gonna get is the rollout of game skins. Maybe a ride. I mean, Friday the 13th, a ride at Six Flags. I think Warner Brothers owns Six Flags, right? It's Looney Tunes. So who knows what we're gonna get. Jason's supposed to be sympathetic, and that's why I hate Part 9. Yes, again, why is Pamela Voorhees a lonely cook searching the world for a Necronomicon? It make a sense. And it's not like the Necronomicon is just something you find in an antique shop in Canada. And it gets so it just gets so trite to have to do that. I just wish they do that. I think bullies are bad people because they're making fun of Jason Voorhees. Yeah, and he got picked on at school, at camp. You know what happened, and he got disfigured. You know how kids are. I like the idea that Jason would wear a bunch of leather holster type stuff like Vault Dwellers from the Fallout, but a bit more DIY-ish. Yeah, Yeah, I could see like makeshift clothes, you know what I mean? Like something that he's had to pull together, like something that's just like he's had to grow into. I think would be kind of cool. I think the clothing design on Jason going forward is going to be definitely something I'm going to keep an eye on what they do of how close they stick to the original stuff. You know, like how many colors are they going to add to him? Because Jason is really like a two-tone. He's a two-tone killer. You know, is they going to add like flannel and plaid? You know, I guess he did have a little bit of flannel in two, but you know, like what are they going to do with that? And if it gets too busy, is it still? I don't know. It's weird to me. Would Jason kill his best friend if he had one? You know, I would really love to see like a Pete and the Dragon story with Jason and some kid in town. Like I imagined, in fact, we have some photos somewhere where Jason is sitting on the end of the dock with young Stevie, little young Tommy Jarvis. That like, imagine if a kid stumbled upon Jason and Jason really didn't like have any want or desire to kill them, especially like in the part 2 phase. You know what I mean? Like just sort of trying to stay hidden and away. But if someone made an attempt to be friends with him, that was the thing I always used to fantasize about as a kid. That like, I always felt that if I approached part 2 Jason in the right way, I could make friends with him. And maybe that's my mistake, but I'm just saying, I think that that's sort of like a dream scenario that I think most people would have. It's scarier when it's an oral person being the killer, like Michael Myers, the Strangers, or the Phantom. Yeah, I mean that's too, and it's debatable whether Myers is what he is too, because he's supposed to be pure evil. Thank you, Horror Show. Zenith Jason would pistol whip the victim. Now I want to see Jason in another classic universal setting. Hey, Jason versus the Wolfman. We could always make that down the line. Again, Barsimian, call me, bro. Let's make Jason versus the Wolfman and put it on YouTube. Run ads on it. Make money off it. I don't care, just as long as we get paid to make it. What do you think about Ginny Fields making Return to Crystal Lake as the modern Crazy Ralph type character, but not crazy? Love it. Would love Ginny to come back. Would love Amy Steele to come back. Amy Steele and Ginny are like, you know, that's Tommy to me. You know what I mean? Like she's the female Tommy in the way that she actually got away. She was just smart enough to stay away, which is, you know, smart on her part. And that probably would have been Alice if she wasn't offed in part 2. That sounds like sequel reboot. Do you think Derek Mears might play Jason? I think there's a high probability. He did a great job. I know I'd hire him in a heartbeat. Watch the 2000 reboot finally. 2009 reboot this week. Actually liked it. Dark, gritty tone. I agree a lot with Cody Leach said on it. That's whatever floats your boat, Chuck. Let me see. I'm going to stop clicking through these. Jason can kill me with the belt center, reference to Hatchet. Yeah, Hatchet goes full boat. Those films go hard. Adam Green knows how to push it. All right, I'm going to start winding down. You can make a no insane. I like that. Whoever said that. Let me see. Will there ever be a Never Hike Alone 3? There's an idea. There certainly is an idea. There's going to be a Ghost in the Fog, but Never Hike Alone 3 would be something else. I don't know if I'm ready to step back into that world just yet. But it's there. I want to see a normal video game from Friday the 13th that has an actual story, single player campaign, and all of that. That's what I want. You want Until Dawn, the Friday the 13th video game. What was the other one too? Wolf's Creek or something like that with the werewolves. Those are 2 games. If you want to play 2 games that are amazing, Until Dawn, and then whatever the recent one that came out. I think it had to do with werewolves or vampires, but it was so good. Wish they made Freddy versus Jason versus Ass into a video game. That would have been cool. There's a comic where Jason was a kid, takes care of himself as if he was a younger self, but he's also got a deformity. Yeah, there is one. It's how I spent my summer vacation. That's the comic for that one. I'd love to see Jason in a lumberjack coat. Normalize husky Jason. All right, yeah. That's. I don't know. Let's see how husky we're talking about here. Do you think Jason Voorhees has cousins or aunt uncles? He probably does, but he's not connected to them, and they don't know. And like maybe it's an old family secret, but leave that for Jason Goes to Hell. Story likely ends the Frankenstein type method. He actually kills his friend at the end. Probably. Actually, you know what? Probably they're probably playing in the woods and the kid falls and dies, and then Jason gets blamed for it. Oh Jesus. That's really good. The Ripper, in all seriousness, doesn't make sense for Ginny to want to return that situation. I think all that randomness of the messenger characters makes it scary. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, right? See, you guys are getting the images. I just have to say them, and you guys are doing all the work yourselves. You can watch the movies in your mind. We can do that every week. I can probably pitch you guys through tons of great movies that I'll never get to make. Um, Never Hike Alone 3 is the must. Tommy coming back makes sense because his character is not just a cameo for the sake of a cameo. Yeah, he's haunted, so he's drawn back, which is nice. All right, before I wrap out tonight, Undead's reminding me, please like and subscribe. If you like what you saw tonight, please come on down. You know, I got this live stream and I'm seeing that I really hope I didn't. I thought I was in the router. Well, if I'm streaming and it's not great, well, that sucks, but I'll figure it out. Anyway, actually, you know what, while I'm here, let me just try it. No, I'm not going to mess with that midstream. What am I, crazy? Anyway, I'll fix it for next week. The Quarry. Cheesy popcorn. There you go. Thank you. Bailing me out. Actually, Ethan Doyle beat you to it. Sorry. Almost robbed you. Student Rapid Fire. Are you worried that Jason Universe will turn into Marvel Universe and get kind of ridiculous? I'm worried that we'll get a bunch of Jason designs that will look bad. And so we'll just have a flooded market of bad designs, not adding anything to the franchise and actually scaring people away. Do you think that all the Friday movies are going to get retconned with the show and it just starts from zero again? I think that that's what needs to happen, but I think they should also take they should grow those characters. You know what I mean? Just put like we're going to do with the script, just put it through another round and make it connect a little bit better and find connections that will be fun, you know, a fun ride, make for a fun ride for the audience. I also like the idea Jason from NHA Gifts gains his goodwill, happy birthday cards, clothes, weapons, and such. I mean, that would be, I could see that Jason falling into that trap, thinking that he could be a normal boy. That's Jason's sort of trap in my head, is that he thinks he can be normal. And just when he thinks he can be normal, that Band-Aid gets ripped off of him and he realizes who he is. Ghost Jason got a middle name like Vincent? Maybe. Yeah. Jason Vincent Voorhees. Hey, that works. Jason Vincent Voorhees. I'm gonna give who boom, Steve DM. I'm gonna give you some credit on this. I like this. I'm all for this. I'm gonna say it's official. So the stream looks good. Thank you. I guess that's good. I guess I'm just getting sensitive. Maybe for Never Hike Alone 3, it happens years later and someone else tries to open the camp to the public again and our boy comes back to say no. Actually, Never Hike Alone 3 is the Ballad of Hiker Man 5000, where Hiker Man 5000 sets off to follow in the footsteps of his hero, Kyle McLeod, only to stumble upon Camp Crystal Lake all on his very own. Except he's not alone. No, it's not Jason Voorhees. It's other YouTube streamers coming out to ruin his stream and make fun of him on live streams where he goes out and gets bullied. In the process of them interrupting Hiker Man's 5000 stream and then using Camp Crystal Lake as a party central place to hang out for the weekend, they accidentally disturb the corpse of Jason Voorhees, and he comes back from Crystal Lake to exact his revenge on those who are disturbing his peace. And that is Never Hike Alone 3. It goes back to the Never Hike Alone 1 formula of found footage mixed with traditional cinematography. We'll have multiple people speaking into cameras, multiple streams, cross-streaming, live comments going on, and it's sort of a bigger, badder version of Never Hike Alone 1 that is just, there's a lot of comedy in it. It's a lot of people poking fun of each other. And like I said earlier in the stream, if you want to get a taste of what it would sort of be like, although minus the comedy and minus all the fun, it sort of puts you right into the shit right away. Go to our streaming menu on YouTube, on our Womp Stomp YouTube, find Never Hike Alone, The Lost Tapes, Ghost Jason Attacks. And that is an experimental proof of concept. It's not official yet. But that was sort of what gave me the idea for Never Hike Alone 3. And I want to take that idea and expand upon it and make it really, really fun. The guy who will be playing Hikerman 5000 is in that movie. His name's Ryan Becker. He is one of the duo that makes up Odyssey of the Odd. Cortland Gordon, who you will see in that video, was Mark Hill in Never Hike in the Snow. That's why it can't be canon, because Mark's in both movies. And he's not necessarily playing Mark in the movie. He's playing another guy. But the idea is that what you're kind of seeing there. So one day we'll do that, but not right now. Cool. I know we're saying good night, everybody. So this is going to be the final rapid round. Thank you. Thank you for everybody who showed up tonight. I'm just scrolling through real quick. Blah, blah, blah. Who knows? Maybe he's our secret cameo, but you never know. We'll have to see what's going on with Kyle. There's actually, I do have a side plot for Kyle, so we could pull that up. We did do a live script reading a few weeks ago, Friday the 13th 3D, so you should check that out. But I would like to do more voiceover work. I am a voiceover actor. I'm a little bit of a Dave McRae myself. But I would like to read books and like be the voice on like Google Drive, or not Google Drive, but Google Maps. Just tell you, hey, take a fucking right, you idiot. Blah, blah. Very excited for Never Hike Alone 3 and the streamers. You guys are battling out there. Jason, Vincent, Voorhees. Look at that. Look how good that looks. Honestly, hey, Jason Universe, if you wanted a name that works for Jason and you can't use Friday the 13th, I heard Never Hike Alone works really, really well. And somebody might have done a bunch of work for you already. So why don't you hit me up? I love the fact that we're bringing Friday the 13th unification in an almost official way. I do like that they're trying to bring it together, but more needs to be done. They need to get the things in there. You guys should totally do a Chucky fan film. No, I'm not going down that route. The other guys got sued. We don't need that. When Jason shows up, Never Hike in the Snow, is it just him hallucinating, or is she actually there as a ghost? She's there as a ghost. He sees her spirit. Her spirit manifests for him, and then you see it at the end of Never Hike Alone 2. Like she manifests. It becomes so powerful. The destruction of her head is so powerful that everybody sees her at that point, not just Jason. But like when if I had more budget, what Deputy Mabry walks into in Never Hike in the Snow is Jason is locked into an old memory. He's actually like, his mother has disappeared, the spirit is faded, and he's actually in a set of meditation where she sort of put him at ease, and he's dreaming of life at Camp Crystal Lake with her. And that's what Mabry disturbs. But we didn't have the money to build that. Now, did we? We had to just do the short version. All right, you guys are just all right, cool. All right, bam, hike. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of this. There we go. All right. So that is truly it. It is 9:30. We've done an hour and 33 minutes. This is not too bad. I'm gonna start cutting it short because I will talk all night if I don't. Thank you, everybody who showed up in the chat tonight. Thank you, everybody who gave me super chats. Undead One, the Trooper, the OG, Yuri, thank you so much. Cecil at the Horror Show channel, thank you as well. Remember, if you have not already, like and subscribe. Come to the channel. Make sure you're watching Never Hike Alone material. Watch the other fan films that we got on the channel. We got Happy Halloween. We got Jason Rising. We got Dylan's New Nightmare. We got Never Hike Alone soundtracks, all three that are now available on the YouTube channel for you to listen to and stream at work. I hand selected where the ads go, so you get to listen to nice long chunks before a little ad pops up, and you help this channel grow. Got to start saving up for a better mic because this thing is struggling. And hopefully next week I'll remember to put on the LAN Wi-Fi, but I think we're doing okay. I'm still streaming at 720p because it's expensive to stream at 1080 without a faster internet service, but we are working on it. Everybody, you have a wonderful weekend. Let me put on a little outro music to start the thing. A little bit. I'll be back next Friday. Back
If not, I may have a guest. Got some people I want to bring on. I want to check in with some friends. I know I want to check in with my boy Cecil. I want to check in with my boy Mike and Jay over. We watched a movie. And who knows what other guests we can come in. I actually talked to Tom McLaughlin recently. He may come on and talk about the state of Friday the 13th. We can pull a rabbit out of a hat and pull a lot of special people on. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you're watching and supporting other fan films and other independent filmmakers. And until next time, I will see all of you on the trails.